money for your children. How often do we make the mistake of leaving young children beneficiaries?
That mindset definitely needs to be changed, because from a personal experience, my cousin was called home a couple of years ago, and he left his 12-year-old son the beneficiary of a $25,000 policy.
And he was looking out for
the best interest of his son. And we couldn't use the policy for the funeral arrangements because it was still in the 2-year contestability period, as well as
a minor beneficiary.
And a minor beneficiary cannot enter into a contract in the state of Texas. And so we recommend to those who have insurance policies, if your beneficiary is a minor, if they're deceased, go ahead and change it. And even if you got somebody on there that you do love and trust, if they have changed towards you, then you need to change your beneficiary from them to someone else, because you're just leaving a blank check in the hands of somebody who don't have to use it
to bury you. They can take that money and run off if they choose to.
They don't have to, because
you got to be careful who the beneficiary
is. Just be careful. Make sure that child is over the age of 18.
Because if they're not over age 18, you can have a policy that's more than 2 years old. You could have a policy that's worth millions of dollars.
They can't touch it.
Because they can't enter into a contract to use that money to bury you with.
That's why you
they can't even, they can't even walk into the bank and cash that check. There is no industry that's going to contract in the state of Texas with the minor.
And they need that money.
They need it.
They need the money for school clothes. They need the money to go to college. They need that money.
We're trying to help.
We're going to limit them if we make them beneficiary. What happens, Queen, if you make a deceased person beneficiary? And we know how often that happens. Mom passed away, dad is the beneficiary, and he done passed away. And how often do we need to check these policies to make sure it's not a deceased person on there as beneficiary?
We need to check them often. That does happen, Mr. Beckwith. And what happens in that event, they'll have to prove it. The family will actually have to prove that that person was deceased, either with a death certificate or with the program or something from the actual funeral services.
And
it takes a lot of time.
Each insurance company is going to require different things.
That they do.
And then they decide who the benefit. It becomes the estate of the deceased person. And that could be many different people.
That could be many people. It could take that family a long time to untangle that situation, and then that money is not readily available for the funeral.
Only because we didn't change
our beneficiaries.
That is so important. We're going to ask you to look at those insurance policies, make sure they're at least 2 years old. And very important, be careful who you leave
beneficiary.
the beneficiary of it.
That's right.
Now, we know we got our pre-need in place. We got our insurance in place. We got all this money out there. We're taking care of our family. What about those wills, Carol?
Oh, it's amazing, John. You're right, exactly. Have all those things in place and don't have any instructions as to carry out all of those wishes, and it still can be tied up for years and years in court. Because you may have one person in the family that decide they want something and no one agrees with it, and the person that passed away didn't leave any instructions, and it's tied up forever.
Isn't that something, y'all? And how often do we see division at the time of death? Because usually the glue in your family is who just died. It was mom that was keeping us all together. Now mom has passed away. So unless mom puts some instructions in writing that is notarized
and witnessed
and given to a
responsible
trustworthy person.
Somebody's not going to tear up the will before we get there or try to read the will after the funeral. We need to make sure the right person has that will. And you have the people that's watching this right now say, listen, I don't want to talk about death. How dare y'all even bring that up? I don't want to talk about my mama dying, my daddy dying, and me dying either. How do we change their mentality, Queen of Pre-Need?
By actually doing what we're doing right now, Mr. Beckwith.
Okay.
By going into families' homes and making them aware that death is not morbid. It's something that's going to happen. I mean, the Bible tells us that it's appointed unto man once to die, and after death, the judgment. It's something we need to prepare for. And there's no reason to be afraid of it. You shouldn't be fearful of death.
Pastor, what do you do? What do you say to the person that's stubborn out there? We're all stubborn in some way. We all have something we believe in. It doesn't matter what you say. You're not going to change my mentality. I have that framed. It's going to stay safe.
Amen.
What do you say to that person that has a stubbornness about purchasing the three things we just spoke about?
Well, to that individual, Brother John, I pray that they will have a change of heart and mind.
Okay.
Because these three key ingredients that we're prescribing toward death is very needed. You need that pre-need for that peace of mind. You need that life insurance for your family to live on after you have left them. And you need that will to give instructions on how things should go after you have been buried. Now, most people feel as though I don't have nothing. Why do I need a will?
Right.
I'm not a millionaire. I don't have. Whatever you possess, you need to put it on paper, put everybody.
List everybody.
List everybody in that will.
Don't you leave nobody out. Even if you're giving them nothing, don't leave them out.
If you say I'm leaving Annie Mae nothing but my love,
write it down.
Write it down.
Okay.
If you don't have nothing to give her, just say I give her my
But
farewell.
at least recognize that Annie Mae.
Recognize her. If you got any secret children,
write them down.
Write them down.
You don't have to show it to nobody after you're dead.
What are they going to do to you when you're in the
Exactly.
Okay, so go ahead and put everybody, list everybody on that wheel, so that way there will be no chaos, no confusion, no arguing, a stranger sitting on a bench in a road with a mallet in his hand telling your family what to do with your personal belongings.
Isn't that something? Don't even know me.
Don't even know. If you was private and discreet while you was alive, you need to keep it private and discreet while you're deceased.
Because I don't want my stuff to go public.
And again, that deceased wishes trumps everybody.
So can your mentality, Pastor Eaton, cause harm to others? If I'm stubborn, if I'm mean, if I'm saying I don't listen to that ass Undertaker folks, can I cause harm to my family?
Yes, you can. Because on that day when they wheel you in their chapel or the church for the last time, your family is sitting there saying, if he would have only took out a pre-need.
Or, Carolyn, if he would have only did a will, maybe we won't be fighting right
today.
now.
It definitely can harm other people. And we talk about it all the time. Same way, your family, if you don't have insurance in place, they lose their way of life. They lose their home. Your child that has all those expectations and are ready to go to college cannot afford to go to college because you were stubborn. Your mindset was that it's about me. I'm going to do this while I'm here. Fend for yourself. Don't be that stubborn. Don't be that mean to your family. And you love them. You love them in your own way, but love them even more in putting those things in place.
It can cause some harm, Queen of Pre-Need, if you don't come to the Queen now. If you don't call Golden Gate Funeral Home today, you can cause some harm to your family.
It's very devastating, as you know. And Ms. Hayes, you see it on a first served basis where families come in and they're not prepared. They don't have a pre-need in place. They don't have life insurance. Death occurs. They don't even have cemetery property or the opening and closing. Any of that done, they got to pass a collection plate around. They got to call family members. They got to call the pastor of the church or whatever. It can be very devastating.
And it's so unfair to your family. You owe it to your family to have these things in place. Pastor Bayou spoke earlier about how your father taught you sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself to make sure that your family is taken care of.
That's right.
So you got to change that stubborn mentality. You got to change that mentality that you don't believe in talking about death, that you're not willing to sit down, especially during holiday season, to sit down and say, this is what's going on with me. I'm going to make sure everything is in place. This is who I'm going to leave this to. I'm going to put it in writing. We're going to make sure that when I pass away, there's no chaos within our family.
A lot of times they try to keep it a secret for whatever reason. Nobody knows where the insurance policy is. Nobody knows where the burial information is.
Nobody knows where it is.
They die and they got to go out and repurchase it and buy it all over.
You know, Brother John, it's sad enough that when we lose a loved one, that they're no longer with us. But it's even sadder when you have to go through the funeral process and there's no instructions, no finances.
And you have to come up with all that yourself. I have to figure out what daddy wanted to wear, what mama, what's her favorite flower or her favorite color.
What kind of casket did she want? That should, a funeral should be a day of celebrating the life of the one who's passed on. But instead, for those who don't take heed to what we're saying, they sit there, they come to the funeral home. Mr. Beckwith, I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have any money. Can you give us this deal? Can you help us this way? Can you do this here? When we've been asking for over the last 2 years, just come and inquire about a pre-need. It's affordable. We fix it to where it fits anybody's budget.
Any and everybody.
You don't have to get the whole thing at one time. You can pay for it as you go along. Start off in what you can afford with, and then add on as you go. And then you got the will. giving nothing but straight instructions on what to do and how to do.
Keep it simple.
And then there is the one thing we all love, the money.
The money. Leave me some. Leave me other than alone.
Guarantee, if you want to make your family happy, have a will and a pre-need and leave a $1 million policy. They're going to always remember you. Not for what you did while you was alive, but they sure remember what you did while you was gone.
You can just leave me 100,000.
Just 100,000 be happy with you. Now, can your mentality persuade others? As a matriarch of the family, as a patriarch of the family, if I believe in pre-need, if I show my family pre-need insurance and wills are something everyone needs, do you think my mentality will persuade others?
Most definitely, John. We see it all the time, and we talk about it all the time, especially with our parents. Their mentality swayed our whole life. And that's what we think now. That's what we do now. And we have to follow those same steps in giving them those good ideas, good things that you need to do, rules to follow to make your life as easy and as wonderful as God has planned for you. So you sway them, and we talked about that earlier. You sway them one way or the other, either good or bad. And we're saying sway them in a good way.
So as a matriarch, as a patriarch, I can persuade you to do nothing. I can persuade you to be stubborn just like me.
Right.
Or I can persuade you to make sure that our family legacy
Lives on.
continue on. All right. Watch us every Sunday morning. At what time, y'all?
5:30 a.m.
on Channel 21 and every Saturday night. On Channel 47.2 at what time, y'all?
7:30 p.m.
All right. And every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m., you can actually call into the radio station, because I know you're watching this and you have some questions for us. You can call in and we actually answer any and all questions. It's honest and it's open. You can ask us anything you like. Call us and watch us every Saturday morning. What time, y'all, on Heaven 97?
At 10 a.m. on the
10
radio.
a.m. May God bless you. May God keep you is our prayer. We are stepping up the level of our services. Our goal is to treat your loved ones with the respect they deserve. We are taking our services to new heights. We are stepping in a new direction. Step into the new millennium with Golden Gate Funeral, where service begins and never ends.